Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Business Influence Podcast with me, Leroy Mark, still at the IMC 2025, talking to big heavyweights in the creative sector, especially marketers who are able to make some of the most interesting campaigns you've seen as you're driving around, as you engage in your social media platforms. I'm joined by Dean Oelschig. He is the founder of Halo Advertising. Dean, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, the conversations we're having before got me thinking. You are sort of the kings of creativity. I was saying to another guest earlier on that you guys have made out-of-home marketing exciting for us again. You know, some of your campaigns like Pineapple. What is your philosophy around creativity?
Well, I think if I knew the answer to that, I'd be a richer man. Yeah, I mean, creativity is really around trying to find something that a group of people who I think are trusted with a brand,
Yep.
but have an experience. Let me go to a different way. There's no science to creativity.
Yeah.
And I think what people are trying to manufacture is a sure thing. They're trying to manufacture science to it. But there are people out there called creatives who live and breathe this. And the one thing that I think creatives are bad at is being able to explain why an idea is going to work.
Yeah.
I think there's an intuition to it. There's a gut. There's an instinct. And the more experienced the creatives, the better they get at that. And so creativity for us is about having a group of those people, addressing a problem, and helping a brand find a space in the world in which they can resonate with a group of potential customers. And you can only do it in three ways. You can be useful, you can be beautiful, or you can be entertaining.
Yeah.
Useful is a good example of usefulness is probably the iPhone when it first came out, or the iPod. Where creativity comes through product usefulness and design,
An actual item.
But it can also be a service. It could be a delivery service, or it could be a discovery vitality as a product. It can come through in many different ways, right? That's a creativity that I think ticks the box of usefulness. The beautifulness is something that you see something and you just inherently go, wow,
that's pretty.
That's so
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it moves you in some way. Where it could be fashion, it could be film, it could be hearing a song for the first time that you never, and you just instantly resonate with that. You're like, oh, that's just so beautiful. And if you think of musicians and the way that they create music, they're running on instincts.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to make something that I think someone is going to love. And then the third is entertainment, and I think we've forgotten that. And we tell our clients all the time, we're in the business of entertaining for commercial gain, and too many brands and too many advertisers probably make it more about themselves than they do about the consumer. And if we're trying to entertain the consumer, there's a better chance that they're going to listen to what we have to say, and a better chance they're going to remember it. And that needs creativity.
I'm interested in this. In the business of creativity, we've always thought that things like innovation would always come from the ideas, but increasingly we're seeing now that we've got things like AI and that technology sector that's really blurring the lines of what we know as instinct, as creativity.
Yeah.
I'm interested to get your thoughts on where's it going if we are building those in.
When I did my talk earlier, I made a challenge to myself to not mention those two letters.
Yeah, A and I.
A and I. But it's here, right? And we can't. You can either fight it and get left behind, or you can adapt it. And we've kind of just taken it in our stride. I think we know when it's useful and when it's not. I think if you put all the eggs in the AI basket, you're going to find a real struggle. But the reality is, AI is a tool. In the same way a digital camera was a tool. In the same way, when we went from records to tapes was a tool. The technology was changing.
Yeah.
It didn't change the need for human creativity. It never will. I don't believe AI will ever write the next Bob Dylan song as a reference point. I've just watched this film. and that's a quote from Ben Affleck. And I think that AI doesn't have an ability to feel. It
Yeah.
doesn't have an ability to, you know, the greatest chef in the world makes the greatest food in the world because he can taste it and he has experience and knowledge, and he can play with things to kind of get it together, right? AI doesn't know how to play. It doesn't know how to taste. It doesn't know how to feel. It doesn't come from a place of pain, suffering, or memory.
Yeah.
And therefore AI can do amazing things in terms of aggregating everything that's come before it. But if you're expecting it to come up with the next big new thing, I think it's got limitations. But that's not to say it's not useful.
Yeah.
It's just how you use it. And for us, it just becomes another tool at our disposal to do things. We can stress test ideas quicker. We can. It makes it easier to sell ideas to clients because they can see a version of what it could look like. And we've used it. We've used it in a lot of things, and we will continue to use it. But I don't think it's. If a brand needs to stand out, right? If a brand needs to stand out in an audience, and everyone starts using AI, and everything starts looking the same because everything comes from AI, then which brand starts standing out?
Exactly.
Right? So the brand that doesn't use AI is the brand that stands out. And that doesn't mean human creativity is easier. It's still hard, but I think that it's the human being that needs to manage the tools at their disposal, like we always have. We always have. But there's reasons. The digital cameras existed for many years, but there's reasons why some directors are famous and some aren't, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a human skill set that's operating these things and coming up with
The ability
output.
to know when the instinct of creativity stops and then the aid of whatever the
Yeah,
machine is.
yeah.
I'm interested in.
It's called taste.
Oh, good taste.
No, it is, and I think that there's some people have taste and some people don't.
Yeah.
And taste is a combination of experience, intelligence, instinct, gut, and yeah, there's creatives out there with bad taste, and there's creatives out there with great taste. I think you can level up your taste, but there are creatives out there who have great taste, and AI in their hands will deliver better results.
I'm interested in the creator economy because that is, where new ideas are coming in, especially in our world in social media and influencer marketing, where we've given, the mantle of the creativity of a bigger network of people. Increasingly, content creators are now becoming the new frontier of marketing because there's so many brains, so many minds, so many histories, so many experiences that you really can generate region-specific, world-specific creativity. I'm
Agreed.
interested in your views of where influencer marketing plays a part in that creator economy.
Yeah, I mean, super important. We've used it really to great effect recently on a campaign for Heineken, for Clipdrift specifically, and it's a group of consumers that the content creator has a group of an audience that revolve around a theme, right?
Yeah.
Or a topic. They very few of the influencers will deviate heavily off their consistency in terms of what
Absolutely.
they're talking about. So there's an opportunity there when an idea lends itself, or a brand or a strategy lends itself to an influencer, and the general theme that they talk about, then by all means, I think that they can play a big role in building in adding to a long-term campaign. I'm not convinced it can be the whole campaign.
Yeah.
I think it needs to have more strategic approach. It needs to have a more consistency over the long term. And but what is exciting, I think, is that the creator economy, they seem to have way more freedom
Yeah.
with brands
Absolutely.
because of everything they've done up to that point. You're not going to, we just used, I don't know if you know him, but there's Duff Cake, who's he looks like a statue talking, and he's crass and he's rude, and so if your brand goes and uses him, you have to expect a bit of that
Yeah.
in the content. So there's a bit of freedom because it needs to be authentically him. Whereas an agency's role is probably doesn't have the same freedom.
Absolutely.
Because you're bigger investments. So I think there's definitely a lot more play happening at the moment in the creator world, and I think that there's a huge role to play in that. Whether or not it's going to replace the creative process, I don't know. It's an argument about whether is it the creative or is it the media?
Yeah.
Are you buying the media with them and activating something through their audience, or are you actually buying the idea? I don't believe an idea can be we're going to use an influencer.
Yeah,
That's
come
not
with the
an
full
idea.
idea.
Yeah, there has to be something much bigger and strategic that comes before that.
Yeah. Interested in how you've been able to really capture the imagination. I look at your work on pineapple, for instance, and we were chatting earlier on about how it has really revitalized the out of home. And a good idea is one thing, but a good idea must also resonate with the people to whom it's presented to.
Yeah, of course.
And you guys have seemed to be really being good and able to take a litmus test of sort of the consciousness of South Africans. And I'm very interested in how you do that social listening to be able to just nail
Yeah,
it on the head.
I think that if you try and make a campaign that appeals to a mass audience, it will fail. You you need to be you need to make a campaign that is important for you. I don't think any great creative has gone out there and gone, I'm going to make something that 10 million people will love. Like that's never going to work like that. The way we've done Pineapple is we had a team of people who were very like-minded, and we said we got to make each other laugh.
Okay.
And if we make each other laugh, there's a good chance there's a good group of people out there that are going to laugh as well. We were disciplined in it. Because it looks fun. People think it's easy, but it's not. Our first campaign had 106 billboard lines, and every single one was unique.
Yeah.
So we had to have 106 lines that we felt were good enough to go into the world. And so to do that, you have to write 500 lines.
Yeah.
And so we had a team of 3 or 4 writers who were writing, and then we would go sit and we would go through them. And if everyone laughed, we thought there's a good chance other people would laugh as well. And that's how we've kind of treated it. You can never start with the objective of trying to appeal in that way, but credit to the Pineapple team. They demanded a different approach.
Yeah.
And they were obsessed about it. And when we presented different approaches, they bought into them, and they said, this is great. Let's do this. And there were some sleepless nights before they went out, but they worked. And I think what happened there is like we're in pineapple specifically is an interesting use case because it's a category there's 1,000 insurance companies in this country, and our pineapple comes along, but no one under the age of, I guess, 40, so like let's say 20 to 40, no one in that age group had ever felt an insurance company had spoken to them before.
Yeah.
And so we just started speaking to them in their language, and we adopted meme culture, and we adopted honesty, and we doubled down on insights and stuff, but we made sure we had those kinds of people writing that work.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the same kinds of people who we also work on Auto in General, which is probably a higher age bracket in terms of who they're going after. It's a much more premium product. They call it the Woolworths of financial services, and there you have a very different group of people who are making that kind of work. But you started the question, you said earlier about the out-of-home thing. And the out-of-home thing is just such a wonderful medium.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to put it up there and people are going to come.
Yeah.
You're not trying to target them. You're not trying to interrupt them.
They will drive past. They have to.
It's the only medium that doesn't interrupt.
Yeah.
Because it's there, and they can see it, or they can ignore it.
Yeah.
They can look at their radio, or they can look at the thing. They can stand under a robot and not look at the billboard, or they can look at the billboard. And the job of out of home is to really make it worth their time and their attention. And so we've done it with others. We've just done a campaign now for Betway for their Springbok sponsorship, where we just came up with the idea simply that Betway's logo happens to be on
their backside,
on their bums.
Yeah.
And so we call it the
Behind the
bum
box.
billboard, the behind the box campaign. And again, we just, I think, have fun for the medium that it's designed to be.
Yeah.
That campaign.
And I think also in a world where we are so heavily regulated, because I think marketers are getting to the point where they find themselves in the same way as we do with most industries, where they're so afraid to be controversial because potential lawsuits, someone will take offense. That when I saw the ad for the first time, I was like, do they mean what I think they mean? Because it looks like maybe I'm just crude in my thinking, but it also shows a diversity of voices in the creative space, because for it to resonate with so many people, even though you weren't necessarily casting the net wide to make everyone laugh, that you can find something of yourself in each of those, I think is part of the magic you speak of.
Yeah, we're so desperate to laugh.
Yeah.
And brands need to just be so much more prepared to have fun again.
Yeah.
We've really lost the fun in our industry. It used to be we had kids in the 80s and 90s, all they wanted to do was work in ad agencies because they were having all the fun.
Yeah.
You could see it. They threw the biggest parties. And we've kind of lost that. It's all just become a bit sensitized.
Yeah.
And I think part of our success is we just started trying to have fun with everything again. And I think if you have fun making something, you can see it in the work.
Absolutely.
everyone can see we had fun making the pineapple
Yeah.
work. Everyone can see we had fun making the Betway box
Yeah.
campaign. And we've just done a campaign with Clipdrift. Everyone can see we had the most amount of fun creating that work. And if the work has the ingredient of fun baked into it, there's more chance that people are going to enjoy consuming it, right? And that's just something that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. You can't make an ad.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality. No one's
Yeah.
interested in advertising.
Yeah.
They're interested in being entertained, and sometimes that's an ad.
Yeah.
And you need creativity to kind of make that happen, I guess.
I think my takeaway from our conversation today is it has to either be useful, beautiful, or entertaining.
Completely.
Thank you, Dean.
Pleasure. Thank you.
You heard it. Useful, beautiful, entertaining. And we'll come back, we'll give you more of the top threes. Beautiful, wonderful, entertaining. That's our idea.
Damn.